Today we are going to be talking about core values, how you
Yes.
figure out what they are, and how you basically that's a lot of it right there. How do you go about figuring out what the core values of your business is and how to focus on them? And during that conversation, like we had a little bit earlier, I know that we're going to accidentally hint, hint, nudge, nut, nudge, nut, nut. We're going to accidentally talk about accidental values.
And that's a big thing. Now, what happens a lot of times and why business owners tend to get burned out, which has been one of the things I see over the years, is that business owners will they have their values, but they allow other people to sort of impose their values on what the company should be. And they get into this, they make a big mistake of making the values conversation a group activity. I do not believe values clarification in a company should be a group activity. It should be set by the owner. People who join your company join because they like your values, not because you like their values. And it's a really, really important distinction between the two of those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Because you are trying or building a value-based company based off of your values, not the values of the people that are coming in there.
So here's the other thing you need with values. Let's say my value is simplification, which is one of my core values. You need to have a clarifying statement around each of the values that you have that explain what it means. Like if I say simplification, your thought of what simplification and my thought of what simplification is probably two very different things.
Mm-hmm.
So my um, clarifying statement around simplification is I take the complicated and make it simple. So now you know what I mean when I say the word simplification as a value.
And how do you stay focused on them? How does that work? I mean,
Well,
do you
at
remind
least in
yourself of
my
that every
experience,
day?
I mean, I actually don't think that's an issue because um, we have lots of opportunities to talk about our values every day. Now, most of us never take the opportunity. For example, like one of, and this is sort of off topic a little bit, but I'm going to go there anyway, is that one of my friends is a guy named Steve Farber. And Steve Farber wrote this great book called The Radical Leap. And LEAP stands for love, energy, audacity, and proof. And for some reason, the word love should not be used in business. I don't know why it shouldn't, because we often say, I love my job, I love my business, I love my customers, but we never really expand upon that except sort of say that as a throwaway to ourselves. We don't tell other people what we're doing about that. So you have a chance to use your values on all sorts of conversations. When someone's doing something good, it's probably because they're exceeding one of the values you have in your company. When someone's doing something poorly, it's usually they've broken one of the values that you have in your company. So either way, it's good. When you're talking to a customer, you can talk in relation to what your values are to why that customer should do business with you or not. And if they don't resonate with your values, they shouldn't do business with you. If they do resonate with your values, you now have a good reason why they should do business with
Well,
you. When you specifically speak about your values, people get to opt in to what you're doing. That's your employees, that's your customers, that's your vendors, and that's your advisors, your outside advisors, your CPA, your attorney, any other advisors you might have. And when I'm clear about what my values are, those who are working with me know what they can expect if they're core values. Now, if they're aspirational values and I say they're core values and I'm not doing what I say, my legitimacy with all those stakeholders goes away completely.
mhm.
Besides
Did
the
you
point.
really?
So there's one more thing, Stan, I think that we need to talk about today. And this is a really important thing, which is the people who are saying it's a core value, which is actually an accidental value. I was recently at a financial planning conference this week, And there were a whole bunch of small planning firms there. And people were saying, well, my value is I'm a control freak. And first of all, it's not a value, but let's pretend it is a value. That's an accidental value. If you're saying that's a core value, you got a problem in your business because who the heck wants to work for a control freak?
Yeah.
So if you have a negative value that is actually a core value, man, you need to think about how can I get rid of that as a core value and move that off the platter. For example, these folks are control freaks. The reason there's control freaks is only two reasons. One is they may not trust the people they work with, and the second is they may not have a tolerance for mistakes. They think that only they're the only ones allowed to make mistakes. In my experience, 100% of the time, when someone's a control freak and they feel like they have to know everything that goes on in their organization, one of those two things exists. So when you have a negative value that's coming out as being a core value in you, get rid of the darn thing and stop calling it a core value and say, hey, this is an accidental value and I need to get rid of it. And again, accurately labeling what it is really important because those who are listening don't really listen, they watch.